All right, happy day, whatever day you're watching this. I'd love to share kind of a journey if I could. The whiteboard behind me, there's those things have been filled about 60 times, probably 1,000 times. Seems just recently, but one of the journeys I'm kind of heading on right now is I've just noticed with a lot of people with a lot of different health challenges, and there's a lot of different things. One of my good mentors, Dr. James Chestnut, talks about eat well, move well, think well. Or in the chiropractic profession specifically, we talk about the things that cause different health challenges or traumas, thoughts, and toxins. And if you think about traumas, slips, falls, bang, booms, sitting at computers all day, not getting enough motion or movements, fall into kind of traumas, either micro or macro. Toxins, we're either toxic or deficient in the food or the fuel that we put in. Maybe we don't have the right nutrients our body needs, or we're just not putting enough of the good stuff in, or we just have the bad toxic stuff. But thoughts, this is a big one. Specifically this, maybe I think a lot of people don't know what to do when it comes to things, or maybe there's something that you need to do that you're currently not doing. And I think everyone knows in a category of life, and I don't care, you pick a category of life, and that'll be even for me. I know there's categories in life, there's something I need to do that I'm currently not doing. But one specific area is thoughts and thinking. And we think, what does that have to do with anything? Thoughts. And this is where it kind of gets into a little bit of what people might perceive as kind of the woo-woo, the weird, whatever. But if you think about it, because you're going to have some sort of emotion on what I'm about to say, probably. You either be convicted, some people get angry, some people get happy, some people shut down. It's just whatever it is. But I always go back to the analogy of a sports team, and everyone knows how this is going to end up. But like if your team is down, boom, someone throws a touchdown, your team wins, your posture goes up, you're super excited about that. Yes. Inversely, what happens to the other team? Wham, they're depressed, their posture goes down. And I really like to throw sports out. Because what if your team is always losing and has nothing to do with sports? A lot of people have been told sometime down in childhood, sometimes they've had different things in life where they're told they're not valuable, they're not loved, they're not appreciated. Something anyways, where they're just, there's typically a lie. And what happens is sometimes some kiddos believe it. And I'll go back to, we were at a wedding we were at an event, and my young daughter was, she was running around dancing. And then there was this elderly woman who, I don't know, her perception of perfection, which is a big lie, by the way, is that children should sit like this and not move. When we were letting our kid, she's having fun. And that woman, she actually spoke something over my daughter, says that you're a bad girl. And this is actually, my daughter came up to me, or actually my son came up to me and goes, yeah, this lady said that about my daughter. And you can be mad, angry. I didn't even know who it was. This was after the event there too. But if I didn't squash that lie right away, maybe my daughter might forever believe that she's a bad girl. When she was having fun, when we allowed her to, again, it was an area in a situation where she could run and have fun. But I really make sure I spoke and I squashed that lie right there, because you don't know, again, I'll have patients that come in. We've seen people over time, when you boil down lies that they've been spoken over them years and years and years and years, what happens is that actually there's a massive lie that we believe, maybe I'm a bad girl, and then I'm a bad kid or something, and that's just how we act. And I squashed it. I said, baby, that's not the truth, right? She goes, I know. I go, no, you are a good girl. And I speak that over her, because truth squashes lies. Love destroys anything. Light always turns out darkness. But again, was that gal, the elderly woman, was her intent malicious? No, that was her training as potentially when she was a child. Now, there are environments, obviously, with our kiddos or all of us where we make sure we have some sort of, I don't call it discipline, etc. But it goes back to thoughts. And be careful, because you'll notice someone's posture. When you talk about a subconscious posture, when someone has a confidence or whatever, and they're walking like, kind of like this, versus someone who's hunched over and, just maybe they've been verbally abused or they've been abused in a sense, but there's a thought process that actually has to do with our health. And again, you do not have to be a doctor to know who's healthier, this person or this person. And so that's actually a challenge that I find in a chiropractic profession, my professional training being a chiropractor. I love serving people, love helping people. I know a lot of other chiropractors do. There's so many different techniques. A lot of people have had maybe some good experiences. Some people have some really bad experiences. If you've had a bad experience, I'm sorry. Somewhere, it's just, sometimes what it is, it boils down to communication, and maybe it didn't jive with what the patient really wanted. And it's like anything in life. It's like marriage. It's like friendship. There's communication. Sometimes saying, hey, this is what my expectations are. But because I know people either swear by chiropractors or they swear at them. That's just what it is. But through this whole process, we talk about the traumas, the thoughts, and the toxins. Traumas, there's so many chiropractic techniques that are very specific, that focus on a specific trauma. We had a gal that was T-boned at 55 miles an hour. Whew, wow. And we had a gentleman just recently that was doing a duathlon. I've heard of triathlons. I've never really heard too much about duathlons, but just a bike and running. So for those who don't like swimming, that's a fun one for you. But he wiped out real bad. So those are the traumas. Or people that sit at computers all the time. Trauma, micro trauma. Toxins, obviously there's good supplements, there's good nutrition, there's bad ones out there too, and that's a tough part as a consumer to figure that out. But what is really being missed in the chiropractic profession is that thoughts component. This is really I guess I think about it, this is an area that I feel really, I feel a lot more confident in this area. Like I know a lot of stuff in those certain areas, but just really that thoughts, like stopping and perceiving and thinking about things. Not perfect, by the way, but I know that that's a big component. And in the chiropractic profession, it's not taught. Now I know it's not addressed at the intensity that it's probably needed. And again, I'm not a counselor, so I don't think that it'll replace counseling, and I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't think it should replace psychiatry. And, but what it is just when you love on someone and you ask some really good questions, and you try to find out who that person is, what that person, why did they believe what they believe? And just when you ask questions, that truth is really in here. And when you ask a certain set of questions, it dives down to who they are. And so what that kind of boils down to is really, that's the underlying thing of stress. It's a perception of the environment. Is it safe or is it secure? And someone will, if you're in a toxic work environment, we've done an assessment on this too. What is the biggest cause of stress? Most people think it's finances. And it's based on, again, we're doing a clinical survey here, a couple hundred, or not quite a couple hundred, at least 100 and some different surveys. The number one cause of stress is career. Number 2, finances. Number 3 is relationships. And if you break that down through this whole process, when you look at, number 1 is career. Why? I was a why person, but if it's career, why is it career? Career, think about it. One of the biggest gifts we were given is time. And when someone says, I hate my job, by the way, I don't know the exact percentage, but I heard something like 27% of people actually use the career they went to college for. And of that, 54% absolutely hate what they do. So there's maybe only 10 to 15 roughly-ish percent of people who kind of like what they do. Now that's like what they do. Maybe it's, again, no, that's the people that don't hate it. Now, do they like it? Do they just getting through? Or are they truly fulfilled? And it's rare. And it's awesome when you find that person. But it's rare when people are truly fulfilled by what they do. But if you think about it, when you go, I'm 8 to 5 working, you don't hit that alarm button going, yeah, woo, it's time to get up. And then 8 o'clock, you go, oh, I hate it. You wake up begrudgingly hitting the alarm clock. You wake up and you're dreading, and you go do the thing. And then you go 8 to 5. And then what do you do at 5 o'clock? You either, oh, yes, I'm away from it. But what do you probably do? You probably try to unplug so much from the world because you spent so much of your day doing the thing you absolutely dread, hate, or not fulfilled by. Or you go home to your spouse, significant other, or friends, and you absolutely just rant about what happened throughout the day, not excited about tomorrow. And that's how some people live their lives. So if you think about it, then you trade your time for finances. So again, if there have been people, I know a gal, she was very, very successful in the corporate world. But what happened was the physical stress of the job, she was crushing it financially, but the stress was literally killing her. And she got called into the ministry field. And the neat thing is the stress went due. Obviously, what happened to the financial thing? It went down too, but there was not enough of a financial thing that actually kicked back the true fulfillment. Now, that's not to say that certain people can't get financially reimbursed for something they absolutely love. That's the fun part too, but it's just, and then the other thing is we're not really taught about what money actually is. It's probably a very, very taboo topic. Some people get really emotionally charged behind it. But that's number 2 is the biggest stressor is finances. Number 3 is relationships. And if you think about it too, the tension behind, a lot of people don't know who they are. That's a big, deep one there, the true identity of who they are. They got to figure that one out. And then when they do, who is their significant other, their family, their friends, and true relationships. It's not a superficial, but a nice, deep, meaningful relationship. But again, if you're spending all of your time in a career you absolutely don't like, you're only talking about that thing the whole time, trading your time for money, and then ultimately what gets to suffer is your relationships with the ones that you love, appreciate. And then the ultimate thing at the end, people say, I just don't have enough time for the things in life that fulfill them. So I'm trying in a process. I've done a lot of different patterns. I went to a lot of different seminars, just a ridiculous amount from my wife's perspective, probably. But it's just the stuff that goes, that's the type of stuff. And now I've seen patterns in people who are what they believe is successful. And first you have to define what success is. Success is a progressive realization of a worthy idea. So the question is, what do you define as success? And stop thinking of what other people think is success. And you have to know right into here. But if you're willing to actually trade your relationships and you're willing to trade your time and think the money's going to be on the back end of the higher priority, it never works out. Now, that being said, there are some people that financially do very, very well in a category they love. But it's trying to say, is it uncomfortable that you need to change your environment of the toxic potential work environment you're in, or leave it? That's the most uncomfortable thing, because a lot of people invested all their time and let's say their finances, student loans, in a career, unfortunately, they absolutely hate. And that's the stinker part. But could someone financially do well? Could someone have peace and ultimately fulfillment? And that's the neat thing of going through. So we've had a few patients who come in. I'm not a counselor, but I just, when you get through a few things, I know in the chiropractic profession, it's a missed component, and we don't really have enough time to sit down and have that deep, deep, meaningful relationship to the true depth that it's needed. And it's not really our, I'll say job or whatever like that, it's to serve them on theirs. But again, our job is to not spend 8 hours to be their counselor. There are different people that have those, we have relationships, but so I'm in the process of developing an online module specifically for chiropractic patients to address the thoughts portion of it. Now, again, it doesn't replace all those things, but it's like supplements. Supplements don't replace food. If you think about that too, an adjustment helps with the spine and the nervous system, but it doesn't replace physical motion and exercise. These are all supplemental things to stack ultimately that ideal health. So basically it's a module I'm working on. I've been literally probably underground for since November. That's when I had that an earlier module on Go, and this is a much longer video because I just want to capture the journey. And if anybody's interested, they can follow it. If they don't, that's a neat thing. I don't care, but I know there are certain people that they don't know what their identity is. They don't know what their calling is. They're having problems with their stress. And what is stress? We got to define what that is. So I developed a program called the 30-Day Stress Less Challenge, and something that we're going to be introducing. Hopefully, again, I put a time frame deadline on myself on July. But this is kind of the different steps. Is I'm gonna have a pre-framed video. We're gonna have 30 specific days, and it's gonna be, I don't want to waste people's time. It has to be impactful. So I got to find the sweet timeline. I'm getting a lot of good feedback from my mentors, from my accountability partners, etc. But it has to be something that gets results for the chiropractic patients, and I'm doing a beta test on that. Had a lot of really good interest on that. Not quite 100 yet, but we just started chatting about it for about a week or so. But the whole goal is to make it an online safe module, because it's thoughts there might be some heavy, sticky stuff that people don't want to put out front. But it's a module that all chiropractors can give to their patients, so they can maybe deal with some stuff. And then ultimately, if they need to go to their counselor, if they need to like that, the chiropractor doesn't have to be that person too, but they can still be there relationally. But there's times where someone really wants to get in some deep stuff, but ultimately it goes down to here. So it's a fun journey. We've had some pretty good results with it on a few, I call it, if that was the beta test, I've had a few alpha tests, if that's a thing, on some patients who have some massive clarity, they have massive peace. And that's the ultimate goal, is phase 1 is peace, and who they are. And that's the exact opposite of what stress is. So anyways, if you're watching, I hope you have a very blessed day. I'm excited for the journey. Take care.